All right, it is time for the hurry up. You got 40 seconds to say whatever it is you have to say and speak your piece. The clock's going to hit a whistle and then on to the next. I am up first. I speak for a living, so somehow I should be able to find the words to describe what I witnessed between Arizona and Tennessee, and I cannot. Last week, their number one pick, Cam Ward, said, if I'm going to keep it a buck, we ass. Well, their buns were out in the fourth quarter, down 21-6. Amari DeMarcado's running in for what's about to make it a 28-6 touchdown. He drops it going in, and then give Coach Callahan's squad credit. They stayed in a fight. They signed up for 60. That's not cliche. They fought. They had... Here's the DeMarcado touchdown. I'm going to run out of time showing this. And then when we get to the part where they scored the touchdown that I have absolutely no idea how it happened. First of all, why do you drop the ball going in?
Hard to watch.
They scored, they fought, and they won. And to see Cam Ward with a smile on his face, here's the touchdown. How's my time going to run out in this touchdown? Just watch what happened. I have no idea how they won this game, but they won this game, and they deserve credit for being professional and staying committed to the fight, and I'm happy for them to get a dub. To see Ward walking off with a smile on his face, they earned that smile. I just don't know how it happened.
Somebody ain't living right in Arizona. Trust me, that's the only way things like that happen. But you know what? I want to go to the best game that people aren't talking about, and that's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Seattle Seahawks. And there's a man that coaches wide receivers at Ohio State, and his name is Brian Hartline. He's a former NFL wideout. He don't have to recruit no more. If they ever want to ask him, hey, what can you do for me? He's going to say, turn on that game. Because nobody still ain't covered Emeka Egbuka. And you know what? On the other side, nobody still ain't covered Jackson Smith and Jigba. Those guys were losing their minds on the field. And they're playing with two quarterbacks that people had forgotten, and Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield, and everybody out there was giving up cookies. It's fun to watch. Great wide receiver play.
There's my man.
Hit the post. That's professional. Professional.
All righty, I guess that's me. All right. For the first time in a long time, the NFL is wide open. That's right. Since 2014, this is the first time since 2014 that there are no unbeaten teams left through the first 5 weeks. There we go. They're all pointing me to the right camera. All right. For the last few seasons, the Chiefs, Bills, Bengals, and Ravens have been the top of the AFC. Well, the Chiefs have already lost more games than they lost all of last season. The Bills just got bullied. Nobody's raving about the Ravens, and the Bengals are burrowless. The Lions, everybody's out on in week 1. All of a sudden, everybody's back on board. Green Bay, everybody thinks a Super Bowl bound the first couple weeks. Now everybody's overboard. The defending champions are busy defending tweets. Who is the top of the NFL?
Before the clock stops?
I'm done. I don't need to say nothing.
He didn't even need that much time. I need your turn. What you gonna do?
I like to keep receipts, Scott. And the receipts from this summer was that Deebo Samuel was too fat. He wasn't going to be productive. They couldn't wait to get him out of San Francisco. And all he's doing in Washington is kicking people's ass. He's getting open, catching the ball in open space and still forming fools, showing up for Jaden Daniels when his number one wide receiver ain't out. And Deebo is saying, I'm a number one wide receiver. So why in the hell is everybody worried about everything? They go to L.A., where Jaden Daniels is from, and Deebo tells Jaden, I got you, dog. I'm going to be open. And even if I'm not open and they close to me, I'm going to still catch it. So, Deebo, welcome back, because you never left. Hey, put my time back on, please. Put my time back up. Yeah, reset my clock, because I got to go to the other side. The other side is
what is this, extra time?
I don't want to hear your mouth. I negotiated for this, and I won. The Los Angeles Chargers did not want to play the run yesterday for some ungodly reason. And I know they have injuries. But Harbaugh is supposed to be built on the line of scrimmage. They're supposed to be built on dominating people physically. They did not. Chargers, get your stuff together. Get back on the winning side.
Okay, wait, first off, somebody got to throw a dang flag. Because ain't no way we working backroom deals and all kind of other foolishness where people get to get more time. What in the Bill Belichick is going on?
Y'all yielded y'all time to the man.
I did yield some time, so you just took my extra time.
Perspective you all have of the way Coach Vrabel has done a 180 quickly with this New England team to get the very best out of the group. Swag?
I couldn't help but start thinking, what the hell was the Tennessee Titans? That's the first thing came to my mind, because we knew this is not new. We knew Mike Vrabel was a really good coach. And look, sometimes relationships sour. I'm being a little facetious with that. But you could see the demeanor of the New England Patriots last night. They knew that they could win the game. It wasn't like, hopefully some good things happen and we there in the end. It was aggressive. You talk about Drake May. It was aggressive down the field. It was throws that you expect guys that's been doing it for a long time in this league to make. And to your point, RC, you alluded to that. He's been playing this way the entire season, but not in this situation. Right. Not when you have to make play after play after play. And you respect the fact that 17 is on the other sideline. And you also have to go toe-to-toe. But it was a phenomenal performance by all. The offensive line did a great job at giving them time to push the ball down the field. They ran it well, but Drake May was the story of the night when it comes to him going toe-to-toe with Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills.
You watch Josh, you watch Lamar. Those, to me, are the best off-platform guys at making ridiculous plays, although Mr. Mahomes is pretty ridiculous at it as well. But I didn't necessarily view May as being that type of guy to make the type of throws to Diggs that he did last night. Was that a little bit surprising that they were that level? Not to you.
Well, I mean, to come to that level in that moment.
Okay.
Right? He's always shown the athleticism. We knew he had the arm strength. Listen, you don't get picked 3rd overall in a draft that have Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels, and you move on down the line to the Penix Juniors and the Bo Nix. We knew that he could play, but it's about having the confidence.
Yeah.
So many times it's a moment where you need to make that play and you don't feel like you have that long of a leash, or you don't feel like you'll have the opportunity to recoup it. But he's standing across the field from Josh Allen. Josh Allen is out making plays. He's running around, and you know you always have that threat on the other side of one of the greatest players in the world getting a football, driving their team and scoring, and you got to go do it. So to make the play to Stephon Diggs, then to throw to Boutte shows how far this man is.
And to thread the needle by exhausting almost all the clock. Because if there's 30 seconds, Baltimore saw what can happen. There just wasn't enough time.
This was the pinnacle of Mike Vrabel coach team. I mean, you saw a competitive team. You saw a team going into somebody's house who's 4-0, one of the best teams over the last 3 or 4 years, who wasn't afraid in the least. They competed physically. They were more disciplined. And when it mattered most, they made the plays. And not only was Drake May making the plays, he was being smart. They very underrated. They're 3rd down and like 7 or whatever. They call a rollout with a minute left. If he tries to be aggressive there and throw it and falls incomplete, Josh Allen's getting that ball, and he's coming right back down to tie it up. He goes down. They get it back with like 14 seconds left. It was a very well done.
But, Scott,
Go ahead.
What you want to know, if you're Mike Vrabel, is do I have one of those guys?
Looks like it.
They found out last night.
All right, we on this show last week, and you on your podcast as well, gave descriptions of the most nitpicked 4-0 team we've ever seen, that being Philadelphia. Well, now they've got a 1 in the right-hand column. I found it very interesting that they did feed the wideouts. There were 18 targets to 6 and 11. I get it. Saquon only ran the ball 6 times. I found that a really odd recipe against a team that they had a lead against. I just can't imagine with that type of O-line that 6 carries for Saquon is the ideal game plan. What do you think?
I mean, well, yeah, the knitting and picking is about to get even more intense after the loss. I think you see, so last week they ran it 20 times in the second half when they're up by double digits, right?
Right.
And Tampa Bay almost calls back and wins that game. I think you saw an overcorrection from the offensive staff this week. They wanted to keep their foot on the pedal, continue to push the ball down the field, and there were plays to be had. They very nearly made a bunch of big plays. They had one to Devontae Smith that got called back because of a penalty. Dotson had one really big, just missed on it. The A.J. Brown one, 2 strides from making a huge play down the field. There was a lot of plays there, and they just were a little bit off in sync. And, yeah, I think in hindsight, obviously, you wish that they would have got Saquon Barkley more involved in the second half.
Right.
But I think they had an overcorrection from the way it went in Tampa.
I got a question for you, JK. Where is so when you were there last year when we watched them, there was nuance to this run game.
Yeah.
It seems very vanilla and easy to defend. Like, take the Denver game, for instance. You have condensed formations. They crowd the box with 9 or 10 people, and you still try to run yourself into that. And I know it's Saquon Barkley, and I know it's Jalen Hurts, but it's got to be more than just the offensive line is not the same. What do you see schematically from this team that could potentially change and help them?
I think it was a little bit better, actually, this week against them. They didn't do it enough to really showcase it, but I do agree that I think early on they were doing a lot of these condensed formations with big personnel and trying to force it in.
Right.
And what the Eagles have done so good, and the reason the run game's been so phenomenal, is Jalen Hurts' ability to make reads and to let him be in a position to take what's available, right? And they've gotten away from that. They got a little bit back to it this last week. They had some reads at the ends and the tight end slipping out. And I think if they can control the backside of runs, whether it's the end, the backside backer with these RPOs, it just makes you defend the full width of the field and that'll open up some more lanes for Saquon.
Meanwhile, Denver's probably wondering, when do you get to our part of the story? The resolve they showed. And Sean Payton is a guy that's got a wheelbarrow to carry around some brass. Okay, he's not afraid, and he's asked his team afterwards, what are you afraid of now? That's a win that tells you just exactly what they're made of. What did they show you, Ryan?
Well, I think the first thing is it tells you what sort of mindset they went into that game with, right? They went into that game saying this is a measuring stick of how good this young team can actually be. And let's think about why they only had 6 touches for Saquon Barkley this entire game. Because in the second half, there were 2 long drives by Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos, and they utilized their quarterback's ability to move. Cortland Sutton came up with big catches. And Vance Joseph, the defensive coordinator, he brought blitz after blitz, simulated pressure after simulated pressure.
That's the big thing right now.
Yeah, he made Jalen Hurts make a play, right? And also he understood this is going to be Vance Joseph against first-year coordinator Kevin Patullo. What changes are you going to make? Because what I know is if I bring pressure, it's going to be a slant, a hitch, or a go ball. We're not going to get any creativity. And I trust number 2 on the back end of my team more than I trust anybody in the world. And so now we can try to work with Riley Moss on the other side.
Both on Saturdays and Sundays and now on Mondays. I love the chess matches we see from the DCs. Kansas City's got one tonight that's going to be fascinating to watch. What kind of pressure do you bring versus what you show? Those types of adjustments and the ability to figure it out on the fly. Yeah, I would guess.
Bringing the house.
I would guess.
Troy, we've seen the NFL pretty wide open for the first 5 weeks. Is this about as wide open as you've seen it?
It's pretty good. You know, it seems, Jason, like it gets more and more like that each year. And I think after yesterday's games, you know, those teams like Philadelphia or like Buffalo that we thought were creating some separation, they kind of came back to the pack. And then you look at New England, what a big win that was for them last night. And that can take you places when you win a game like they did on the road. So that was good to see for them.
I want to ask you about that because Vrabel has, we talked about it earlier in our show. This is a guy that I think widely respected as a guy that understands how to manage operation of the game. And you saw that last night. Beating that team in that place early enough in the year with a lot of runway in front. What might it do for them?
Well, I think in addition to that, first of all, I'm a big Mike Vrabel fan.
So am I.
I love the way he coaches. He's old school, and you're right. You're not going. No one's going to know more about the game or give his team a better opportunity to be successful. In addition to that, I mean, how about the night Drake May had?
Yeah.
So you're looking at him a little differently today than what you did going in, but. I don't know if it's an overreaction. It's what we do after a game. But I feel like New England put the AFC on notice that they're at least going to be a tough out. You know, they're going to give you all they got. And anyone who knew Mike Vrabel, when he got the job, they should have known that.
Yeah.
And I imagine that when he got up there, anybody that didn't know who he was, all he'd have to do is walk around the facility and point on the wall and go, see that guy?
Yeah.
The guy catching a touchdown in the Super Bowl? That's me. He's got the bona fides. He's got the bona fides.
Yeah.
Troy, so do you. We look forward to listening to the call, and we certainly
you
appreciate
saying
you taking the time.
Patriots going to win the Super Bowl?
You guys taking care of my guy here?
Yeah, we try our best.
They put
He's
us
yelling
together.
at me and
This
asking
my
for
bestie. I'll see you later tonight, bro.
He doesn't need any help.
You gonna wait on him?
Yeah, he waits for me.
You never leave a brother.